A big win for the Grizz over the Magic, rocking the sweet throwback jerseys. Jaren Jackson Jr.'s first game of the year came out cooking immediately. 8 of his 13 points in the first half. Two-way player Jay Huff is endearing himself to Memphis very quickly. The block there leading to the Ja Morant bucket on the break. And then Jaren going to be able to find the big fella who goes reverse jam to everybody's surprise. Memphis led by as many as 29 points. Grizzlies finished with 38 assists on 46 made baskets. 22 points for Salty Aldama, the high man for the Grizz. Jay Huff had 18 points and a double-double for Ja Morant, 124-111 Grizzlies. They will play again on Monday. All right, guys, so 1-1 on the weekend, but obviously that Magic game was incredible. Initial thoughts, Rachel, I will start with you.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1 on the season to start for the Grizzlies. I think considering how many guys they still have out injured and only getting Jaren back just that last game, and obviously Ja's been, iffy as to whether he's going to play or not to be producing that kind of basketball this early in the season. It's nice to see. Obviously, there's a lot to work on and to see improve, but to start that way this time of the season, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, they got their swagger back this game. The Grizz fans definitely got their swagger back. That's just what it felt like to me, is that overall, that atmosphere in the Forum, I haven't seen that in 2 years. Been going to a lot of games for over the last 2 years. The most electric atmosphere, and they fed off of it. And that ball was flying around. That ball was absolutely like that. It was almost like it was hot. They didn't want to keep it for too long. 2 seconds pass it, 2 seconds pass it. Ja had 10 assists. Scottie Pippen with 12 assists. Scottie was slinging it all over the place, and that really disrupted the Orlando Magic defense that was third in defensive rating coming into the game. They're now, Grizzlies knocked them back down to fifth, but that Magic team is legitimately good in half-court defense. Taylor Jenkins talked about it after the game, saying, look, it's not like we're playing the Jazz. This is the Magic. They're going to be hoping to play the same exact way. And in that new offense, that half-court offense was looking really good. And the assist to buckets, like you said, 46 buckets on 38 assists. If they can hit 38 assists a game, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, no, the vibes were definitely high, right? Let's talk about, first of all, they had the throwback uniforms on. I loved that. With the throwback court, talking about the early 2000s, 90s.
It was
Grizzlies.
the way to start the season.
Definitely the way to start the season. I think that kind of sets the tone, especially for the fans that were in the building. But you make a fantastic point. The way they were able to share the ball, the assists, moving the ball around as much as possible. Ja Morant and Pippen both having 10-plus points and 10-plus assists. Shout out to my man Sean Coleman. It's the 6th time they've done that ever, and the 9th time they've ever had at least 38 assists in a game. So anytime you can move the ball like that, you're going to beat a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things that we've kind of seen out of these first 3 games specifically against Orlando was just the amount of points they're getting off the bench. Like, they're really depending on those guys. Against Orlando, they actually had more points from their bench players than their starters. 66 points coming from the bench. That is a lot of points. And obviously that's led by Santi, it's led by Scottie, it's led by Jay Huff, who's just kind of come out of nowhere and is the guy who we could make so many nicknames about. Like, there's just like an array of them. I said Huffin' and Puffin' all over the Magic. What do you have, Huffington Post?
Huffington Posterizer.
There you go.
That's one, and it's approved by Jay Huff. Huffington Posterizer.
Oh, you talked to him in the locker room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he came out, he was wearing a shirt that read Hufflepuff on it.
Okay.
And he said, this is the official nickname. And I said, what do you think of Huffington Posterizer? And he was like, I like it. He said, sadly, you're not the first one to come up with it, but I like it a lot. Former NBA G League Defensive Player of the Year last year.
I think it may be only a matter of time before they could see him on the full roster, simply because what we've seen from the front office in so many years, especially with Vince Williams Jr., with G.G. Jackson, they get him on those deals early, where they're only taking up, only so much more of the salary cap, $2 million or so. I can see Jay Huff being the next person that they do that with, simply because he's been able to play so well. You talk about the Huffington Posterizer. He keeps reverse jamming on folks. We are certainly going to have him on that roster because he's been electric in the first couple of games, and he's really been probably the biggest surprise, I would say, of the early season. When we see what they've been able to do with the Grizzlies, especially because I think Brandon Clark has struggled a little bit on that bench, but the bench really has been sensational. Talk about Scottie Pippen Jr. as well, his ability to kind of run the offense when Ja Morant is off the floor. We saw that with Tyus Jones in years past, and then for Scottie Pippen Jr. to be able to come in there, and the offense runs a little bit differently than what he would with John Morant in the game, but he's still able to make it an efficient offense. And I think that's something that Taylor Jenkins probably has to love to see in his backup point guard.
I think it is a different system, but I think it's similar in a lot of ways because they're making Scotty a pass-first point guard. And it's something that we've never seen from John Morant, and we're starting to see this year. He's looking to pass the ball more than he is looking to get in the paint or looking to take threes. And so I think that's why you also see, the two highest assist totals on the team coming from, obviously the point guards have high assist totals, but in years past, it's not always been the case. So for Scotty to have 12 and Ja to have 10, that's huge output from both of those guards.
We had the big three back for the first time this season as well. Jaren's first game, 13 points. Not necessarily what you thought points-wise, but they spread the ball around so much you almost didn't need a big game from the big three.
Yeah, and you could just tell his impact as soon as he was on the court. Like, you could tell everyone could kind of get back into their normal roles with him out. People kind of had to step into different places. Obviously, Santi did a great job being on the court when Jaren wasn't there, but being able to have Jaren back then meant Santi's coming off the bench and he's having a massive impact in that way. But I think Jaren just kind of settled everyone down. I think he also helped Zach Edey out a lot. I mean, Zach's obviously still struggling a little bit to find his groove in the NBA, but to have someone like Jaren there to help in defense is massive for him as well.
Yeah. John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, all back in the building. The vibes definitely felt high. I mean, we hadn't seen them in, 295 days, something like that?
If you can do maths.
Before all three of them had played together. Caleb, what did you think about what you saw from the big three?
Yeah, well, there's one clip that I saw, and it was actually after a foul called on Jaren, but they were all standing there, and they all had their hands on their hips, and I was just kind of smiling up there with my camera, like, oh my gosh, they're back. They're back. I mean, they're one of the best three cores in the league, right? You'd have to go, there's a lot of them, but at their best, they have the potential to be the best, and they definitely were so happy playing together. It's just something we didn't see at all last year. Saw a lot of sad Jaren last year. Happy Jaren on Saturday night. Very happy Jaren. Came out after the game, had his full denim jacket on, denim pants on. He definitely, I feel like sometimes the athletes bring two outfits. One if they lose, one if they win. That was definitely the winning outfit for Jaren.
For sure.
Well, it's cool because you saw it before the season started in those press conferences. Zach Kleiman said, this is our three. This is who we've built the team around. We've known that for several years. But to see them finally back on the court and be like, okay, this could actually happen again this season. We could see them make a playoff run just purely to know that these three guys are back on the court and playing together. Obviously, first time back, it looked good. A lot to go with the three of them and with bringing in all the other elements, but to know that's started now and now it's just building along for the rest of the season.
Well, I think it's got to be a really encouraging sign when none of them touched 20 points, right?
Right.
Your high man for the game is Santi Aldama with 22. Of course, John Morant had 16 points, 10 assists, something we've come to expect from him in terms of his assist game and double-doubles in particular. But when you don't have to depend on a John Morant, a Desmond Bane, a Jaren Jackson Jr., one of them has to get you 25 to 30 points, and you can have a Jay Huff be your second leading scorer, Santi Aldama. That means you've had a really, really good night. And I think we've seen that in these first couple of games, especially that first home game. You love that you didn't really have to have a big game from any of the big three. One thing I will say is they were going to have to correct the third quarter struggles really quickly and really soon. What we saw, really the first three games, they've had really strong first halves, and then you get into that third quarter, and it's like something is not quite clicking. They're outscored by the Jazz in that first game of the year in the third and the fourth quarter. In the third quarter versus the Magic, outscored 35-21. Your lead goes from 29 points to 8 points, and then outscored against the Rockets in the third quarter, 39-18. Rockets go on that run of 31-7. Obviously, you lose that lead, and you're in an away arena, right? So the momentum, the air gets taken out of the balloon, so to speak. They were able to curb it against the Magic, and so I think that was really encouraging. I think Taylor Jenkins switches that lineup a little bit because in the Rockets game they got punked, right? Unable to rebound in that game, out-rebounded in the third quarter, 20-9. But in that Magic game, you go a little bit bigger lineup. You see their ability to just be able to play much better in that third quarter, stop the bleeding, right, and then you're able to finish it in the fourth quarter. I think you really had to like what you saw there. We actually got a chance to hear from Taylor Jenkins about the third quarter struggles and what they're trying to do.
we know what we've got to prioritize. It's our pace, it's our principles, and controlling the possessions game, trying to do all that. We're asking a lot of our guys offensively and defensively. This was a great test for us, but it had to start with our pace, and I thought we established that in the first quarter, the first half. It was multiple guys. It was Josh setting a tone. It was Marcus running without the ball. It was Zach doing a good job running the floor, Jaron getting acclimated back with the group, and then the bench coming in and just being another wave. BC, Scotty, Jay, different guys. So we got to be relentless, and then we just got to find a way to get better in the third quarter. How can we sustain this for 48 minutes? But whether it's a standard or not, I'm going to hold them to finding ways to get better. This is not a litmus test thing or, hey, we got to be like this every night. We have so many other things we can get better at.
So Taylor Jenkins kind of sets the stage there. Obviously, he understands, this is going to be a game of runs. The NBA is full of incredible athletes, incredible teams. You're not going to blow everybody out every night. What you don't want is to have almost an expectation of, you've had a really strong first half, and we're falling off in the third quarter. What is that all about?
Yeah, well, I think it's also their pace of play. They're playing at such a high pace. He's asking so much of them. It's really difficult. That's why we saw the Grizzlies get into double-digit players once again this season. They're still trying to figure out rotations. That's part of the reason why. But also, you need that. And foul trouble came into play as well. That's why Santi and Jay got so many minutes early on. But I think it's honestly, those guys are, even after getting the halftime break, they're gassed. Whereas teams can kind of, really smart teams, and the Magic kind of did this, they can sit back and soak up pressure a little bit more, conserve energy, while the Grizzlies are running around. Because if you look at their offensive sets, there's so many, it almost looks similar to like the 2018-19 Warriors with how many off-ball cuts there are, how many screens are being set, and then what they're asking them to do when, let's say, Jaron gets the ball and he's asked to take on someone after he's made 3 cuts around the basket. So yeah, I think that early in the season, you're still getting up with your conditioning. Your conditioning level is not where you want it to be, as it will be in December and January. So I'm sure as the season goes along, we'll see that get better in the third quarter.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is they were able to correct it against Orlando. Obviously, they couldn't against Houston, but to go down and get their massive lead cut and then to be able to come back and keep fighting, I think that shows a lot of positive signs for the future of this team this season. But the pace is a big one, and I think that we've seen the pace kind of slow down a little bit in the second half, and I think teams are also adjusting to what they're doing, which is playing a part in teams being able to bounce back and trying to get some points back on the Grizzlies.
And a lot of that is going to come back to your leadership, right? You're talking about Josh, Jaron, and Dez. Anytime they're on the floor, in that first starting group that comes out in the third quarter, they've really got to be able to set a tone, I think, a little bit better. You're seeing that there seems to be a slip somewhere in that third quarter, and then you're expecting, the second unit to kind of come in there, and maybe they can stop the bleeding, and sometimes they do, right? And some of that's just going to be some of the coaching change. But I think with that big three especially, they've got to say, hey, we're not going to allow this to happen game to game. There should never be an expectation of that, and I certainly don't think they feel that way. But we've had a chance to hear about how Josh, Jaron, and Dez feel about all being back together in the building for the first time.
Oh, it was huge, man. I've been watching the preseason, watching film, and I know how they've been moving the ball and playing together, and I've been seeing practice. I mean, the spirit's so high right now. I missed it for sure, and then I was just happy to be out there.
It feels good, man, for, guys to be coming back, and, we got the other guys still in, their recovery process, and, be back very shortly. So it's great, man. I'm just trying to stay on the floor myself.
So no better way to say it. Josh trying to stay on the floor, and anytime the three of them can stay healthy, I think that's really going to help what this team is able to do.
Well, Jaron also said that the vibes are higher than they've been in a while in that locker room, and you could really feel it in the locker room after the game. And it's something that, once again, you didn't see a lot last year, and I think that mentally that goes such a long way in an 82-game season. When you can keep those vibes up, you look last year after those trades, those were those guys' brothers, they're friends, and they've gone away. The vibe really dropped, and now this year they have that core back. They're creating a family, adding Yuki and Jay Huff, and Zach Edey, of course, but all of them are really buying into this new game plan, and that is a huge, huge deal.
Well, I think it's cool. You mentioned Jay Huff there, and Jay Huff is the reason why we've got our jaw dropper this week, which is kind of crazy. Usually the jaw dropper is always Ja, but this week it's like, no, even Ja likes this play better. Let's get into the jaw dropper.
jaw dropper, his jaw doing something amazing. This time it is his favorite play of the night. Jaren Jackson Jr. to Jay Huff on the reverse jam. The entire arena just goes insane. Morant just as impressed with this play as all the rest of us were. 2 of Jay Huff's career 18 points, career high 18 points on the night. Let's get one more look at it before we slide up out of here.
The slow-mo. On his head, on 2 people's head.
Nasty. Caleb, you had a play you wanted to break down in this particular game. What you got for me?
Yeah, well, we're talking about the Grizzlies running a new offensive set and defensive set. So right here, Marcus Smart gets a great defensive stop on KCP. He brings it down. Notice where Zach Edey goes, right here. He's going to the basket, runs the lane perfectly. Now watch Bane come around top. There's a switch here. Banchero has to slide, and then easy dunk for Edey. That is quintessentially what they want to do on every play. And it was kind of a hybrid fast break. We'll watch it again here. A hybrid fast break, but they did slow it down a little bit. The Magic were able to get into their set. You can't see Bane, but Bane is always looking for this cut here. Marcus knows he's going to make it. And Edey just staying there smart, not going to get the 3 seconds, stays in there. Easy dunk. I think that was the perfection, offensive perfection at the NBA level. I love to see it.
Was that early in the game as well?
Yeah. It was. I think that was still in the first quarter. Yes, it was, because that was Edey's first bucket. And it's also important to just give him those easy buckets to help his confidence out. You know?
I think they've done that the last couple of games, where in those first couple of sets they end up finding Edey on an easy dump off. I think a lot of teams, especially defensively, are trying to get adjusted to what they're going to do offensively, and you're so worried about what one of those big 3 are going to do that when you get a Bane train straight line drive to the basket, they're going to get a dump off more often than not. So the Grizz train keeps on rolling. They've got the Bulls tonight in FedEx Forum. Game 4 of the 6 games they've got in 9 days to start the season. Tip-off is tonight at 7 o'clock. We will be out there